Today's class is going to be traditional yoga, which means perhaps nothing to you, but it does follow a traditional format. So come to standing, lift your toes, and then place the toes down so that you've got a firm grounding. Think of pressing the feet away from you. Lift and roll your shoulders. Tense your knees and then release the knees. Just place a hand, one at the chest, one at the navel, and feel that subtle lifting upwards. And then release the hands. And just breathing in, slightly turn the head to the left. Come through to the centre of the head and breathing out, turn slightly to the right and come back to the centre. And the chin should be parallel to the ground or even fractionally towards the ground. And you're in perfect Tadasana, standing posture. So your vertebrae should be stacked above one another and you should feel perfectly aligned. Famous last words. And then from here, just release. And soften the knees as you circle the arms up to where it works for you. And just breathing out, lower the arms. And we're going to do this a few times. Your own breath pattern. And on the last one, just circle the wrists up. Stretch up and circle the wrists down. Come to standing, lift your shoulders. And then come to feet hip width apart as we just sway from side to side. Start to slow the swaying down. And then come to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then come to place your left hand on your waist. Just snake your right arm up. And breathing out, soften your knees and come to place your right hand either on your shin or just to touch the floor and release and relax your neck. Soften your knees as you roll up to standing and you're keeping your hand on your left waist. And we're going to do that very gently a few times, rolling up and down. Pressing the feet into the ground as you roll up. You can look up if that's good for your neck. If it's not, then just look forward. And then come to finish that side and release the arm down. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then we're going to come to place the right hand on the waist and repeat on the other side. So snaking the left arm up and rolling down. So you might recognise this. We've done this before, but in a different format, in style of Kundalini yoga. And they're called miracle bends, but we're breaking this down to one side at a time. So it stretches the front of the body, and then you almost into the back. You come forward, stretches under the arms, which connects into the lymphatic system. And if you choose to look upwards, you're coming into an aspect of mindfulness as you disconnect the mind from the stress centers of the brain. And make the next one the last one. And now the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. And bring the hands to the heart center, elbows out, and just press the palms together and just feel the arms. And then soften the knees. We come into half salute. Circle the hands up, palms meet. Come through the centre, bend the knees, and slide the hands onto the shins. Half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And when you come to standing, just raise the arms, stretch the fingers, and lower the arms. And we'll do that again. Palms together at the heart centre. Soften the knees, circle up, palms together. Come through the heart centre. And to slide the hands onto the knees. Breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here to breathe out. Breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And when you're upright, just raise the arms up, stretch the fingers, and lower the arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. And we're going to come to the tops of the mats to do a very gentle salute to the sun, Surya Namaskar, palms together at the heart centre. Soften the knees and circle the arms up. Breathing out, as we did before, come through the centre. Hands onto the shins, breathing in, half lift. And as you breathe out, soften the knees and just drop the fingers, the hands to the floor, to either side of the feet. And step back or slide back with the right foot, stretch the right leg out, and bring the right knee to the ground. Just enjoy the stretch, and then slide the left foot back. You're in tabletop. And then just bring the bottom towards the heels to stretch the back out. And then come back to tabletop, bend the elbows, bring the elbows to the ground, and slide forward onto your tummy. You might need to bring your knees back. Keep on your elbows in Sphinx pose and look down at the floor. Press your elbows just to pull yourself forward a millimetre and then relax. And then just slide your elbows out to the side to touch your forehead Your hands go out to the side as well, to the ground. And your elbows are now up slightly and in towards the body. Press your hands down, lift up and come back to kneeling in tabletop. Tuck the toes, tummy in, and come into a downward dog. Really keep the knees bent to lengthen the back, and then begin to straighten the legs, but they don't have to straighten totally. You can widen your feet towards the edges of the mat, and you can have your heels slightly turned out if that suits your stance. And then walking the dog by bending one knee and stretching the other heel, and then reversing. And you can choose to sway slightly with your hips from side to side as you walk the dog. Your tummy is engaged, your lower abdominal muscles are engaged in towards the spine, and the perineum is lifting slightly. And then just bend both knees back down onto the mat. Untuck the toes and come to bring the bottom towards the heels and stretch out again with your hands. Just feeling the stretch under the arms, the lower back. And then come up with your bottom to tabletop. And just slide your hands to the left to give space for your right foot to slide up. And then hands either side of your right foot. Just stretch into your right hip. The back of the neck is long, your lengthen along the spine. And then if you've come forward, just bring yourself back so that your knees forming a degree, 90-degree angle, tucking your back left toes, tummy in. Press down with your hands to lift your back left knee and just slide your left foot in slightly towards you. You're in pyramid pose, you're just bending over your front knee and then slide your left foot to your right. Soften your knees, press your feet down, half lift to lengthen your head, breathing out, tucking, breathing in, half lift, and stay here as you breathe out, and then breathing in, press your feet down and roll up, vertebra by vertebra to standing. When you're standing, raise your arms up and just release your hands back down and lift and roll your shoulders. This time clasp your hands behind you, aim the knuckles to the ground and open the shoulders. And then just release the hands. Slide them down the backs of the legs as you bend your knees. To place your hands to either side of your feet. And we focus now on the left side as we slide the left leg back. Just hide for a moment, and then the left knee down to the ground. Slide the right leg back with your tabletop. Here we'll do some classic cat-cow, dipping the back, looking up. If your neck's not great, look down. Breathing out, rounding, chin comes to chest. Breathing in, dipping the back. And rounding, chin to chest. And once more, we dip the back. This time as we round, begin to tuck the toes. And then come to your downward dog, lifting the knees, lengthening the back, and then beginning to straighten the legs. Feel that you can adjust here to make your feet wider if you need to, or maybe slightly closer to the hands, and begin to walk the dog by bending one knee and then bending the other knee. Engage the thumb and the second finger, and the elbows, in the inside of the elbows should be facing one another to secure the arm in the shoulder socket and support it.
And then begin to think about extending both legs, tummy in, perineum engages, and then bend both knees and come back down onto the earth. And once more, just bring your bottom back towards your heels as you stretch your hands out in front of you and just stretch. Feeling space at the lower back. And then just walk your hands slightly to the right as you lift your bottom and come to slide your left foot up and hands to either side of the foot. Just come slightly forward, just stretch out the left hip. Bring the left knee back to a 90-degree angle to support it. Tuck your right toes under tummy in and perineum engages to lift up your right knee and slightly bring your right foot in. Just a moment in pillow pose over your front knee. Do bend your knees if you need to. And then just soften your knees and bring your right foot to your left. Hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, softening. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Breathing in when you're ready, raise your hands and just hold your thumbs as you just very gently sway from side to side. And then come to the centre, lower your arms, lift and roll the shoulders. And just test our balance here by lifting the heels. And gently lower the heels and subtly bend the knees. And as you do so, it doesn't matter how much you bend the knees by, you'll feel your abdominal muscles just engaging slightly and then come to standing. Hands by the side, lift and roll the shoulders again. And then just hands lightly touch together at the heart centre. And we're going to come to line on the mat. So this traditional yoga very much looks at having a recovery time after movement. You don't think you've moved very much, but in fact we have. And just come to line on the mat in a form of Shavasana. If you need to bend your knees to just lift your back up and reset the back on the floor, that's fine. Just come to line, the feet just relax out by the side. Classic Shavasana has the palms up, but you can have palms down or even rest your palms on your abdomen and the elbows slightly out. So just find a comfortable position. And we're going to start by extending both heels so that the toes go up to the ceiling. And very gently then point the toes away from you. And just a few times, toes up to the ceiling, activating circulation in the whole body. Toes away. And toes up. And away. And again. And then start to circle your ankles in one direction. Notice where your circle isn't a circle, where you miss bits. And then just start to circle the ankles in the opposite direction. And just release the feet and let them drop out. Keep your elbows on the ground, but then just lift the hands up and then
fingers to the ceiling and then point the fingers away a little bit like we did with our feet. As you breathe in, the fingers go up and almost back, and breathing out, point the fingers away. And just a couple of times in your own breath. And connecting into the sense of almost touch as you can feel the air through the fingers, and that connects to the heart. And then just very gently circle the wrists in one direction. And then circle the wrists in the opposite direction. And then just release the hands back down. And connect once more to the breath, noticing perhaps the abdomen rising and falling. Perhaps noticing the coolness of the air as it comes in, and then a slightly warmer air as it leaves your nostrils. And then breathing in, extend your right heel, bend your right elbow and lift the right arm up above you. Just let the back of the hand stay on the ground as you breathe out. Breathe in, stretch your arm away from you and stretch your heel. And then as you breathe out, lower the right arm and just release and relax the right leg. Take a recovery breath. And then extend the left heel. And when you're ready, breathing in, raise the left arm above you, resting perhaps the back of the hand on the floor, the arm can be bent. When you next breathe in, stretch your left arm away from you and extend your left heel. There might be a gap under the back. And when you next breathe out, you can just relax the left arm back down alongside you and relax your left leg. Your left foot comes out and relaxes. Just very gently let your head turn to one side as you breathe out. As you breathe in, bring the head back to centre, and breathing out, let the head turn to the other side. And a couple of more times in your own breath pattern, feeling the head is heavy on the ground. Bring the head back to the centre. Bend one knee and then bend the other. So both feet are on the floor, knees are up to the ceiling, and you might want to press your feet into the earth just to lift your bottom and straighten out your lower back. And then release back down to the earth. And here there's an option to make your feet, or move your feet slightly wider apart towards the edges of the mat. And start to sway the knees from side to side, dropping them to one side, your other hip will lift. You can linger here, or if you want to move the knees as you breathe in and out, that's fine too. But just find your own rhythm of swaying your knees from side to side, and your hip on the opposite side will lift off. And you might find that your head starts to move as well, and just go with whatever direction your head moves in. So this comes into some somatic movement, which is very much the nature's natural oscillation of movement, very natural movement. Your hands might be palms down on the floor, but again, just find your comfort or place with them.
And you might find that you're massaging over the top of the bottom. That carries a lot of stress. And this very much with the weight of our body, we kind of iron that out. Your knees can drop into the centre as you go from side to side. If you go in one direction, the outer knee will drop in. Should be a very natural movement. And very gently think about just coming to stopping that movement. Maybe bring your feet slightly in to hip width apart, maybe a little bit closer to your bottom. And your palms are hands, palms down on the mat beside you. And just begin a pelvic tilt, flattening the back to the ground as if you're going to lift your bottom. And then the tailbone moves in the opposite direction, away from you and towards the mat, towards the floor. There's a little gap under your back. In your own time, just very gently flatten the back and then move it in the opposite direction. And this very gentle engaging of the lower spine is something that my understanding is that osteopaths have taken this and incorporated it into some of their remedial movements when people have had a very bad back and they're just beginning to recover. And it's the very first movement that they make, it's this pelvic tilt movement. Because your back is very supported by the ground, and so you're giving complete support and yet moving around the lower back area. And then there's an option next time you flatten your back to press your feet. It is an option, otherwise just carry on to press your feet down. Just subtly lift your back off the ground, your hands engaged to support you, and you lift up as little or as much as you would like into a supported bridge. Your chin will naturally come down towards your chest, and then just release and lower the back down, vertebra by vertebra. Just take a recovery breath. And there's an option when you feel ready to do that again, to press your feet down, lifting the bottom off the ground. If you do go up high, then feel that someone's holding your knees so that they're not splaying out to the side. When you're ready, just release your back gradually back down to the ground. Just take a recovery breath here. And then bring one knee into the chest and then the other knee. So both knees are hugged into the chest. And just start to gently rock from side to side. The back of the head will go with you. So you're massaging across the acupressure points. And you can rock almost over to the side. So the backs of the arms can support you, or just keep your rock to a minimal movement. Whatever feels nice for you and for your back. And then just very gently come to the centre. You're still hugging your knees into the chest. And as you breathe in, raise your left foot up to the ceiling and straighten your left heel. And at the same time, raise a bent left arm up and behind you. It might or might not, your hand connect to the back of the floor. Just, you can keep your elbow bent. Staying here for an in and an out breath. Breathing in again. And when you breathe out, lower the left arm and hug the left knee into the chest.
And just rock from side to side, just easing out that back. And then when we come to the centre, we're going to do the same on the right side. So when you're ready to breathe in, simultaneously extend your right leg up to the ceiling, extend your right heel and right arm behind you. Stay here for an in and an out breath. Breathing in again. And your next out breath, just lower your right arm and hug your right knee into your chest. And just very gently rock from side to side. And then turn to the left side as you breathe in, raise the left foot, extend the left heel, left arm up and behind you, stretching it out. And this time on your out breath, lower the left arm, hug the left knee back into the chest. And to the right side as you breathe in, right arm, right leg extends, stretch. And when you breathe out, hug the right knee into the chest. And then once more to each side. Left side. Stretching the heel, just stretches out the back of the leg. And then go back to hugging both knees into the chest. Both knees really hug into the chest. And as you breathe in, both knees, you're still holding them, extend away to arm's length. And then just carry on breathing out, hugging the knees into the chest. And breathing in, just let them drift away to arm's length, you're still holding them. And just carry on a few times in your own breath pattern. If you want an added core awareness, then you would let your tummy muscles, your abdominal muscles do the work, and your hold on your knees would be terribly light, just fingertips. But if you like the comfort of hugging the knees into the chest, then just go with that. So here we're massaging up and down the lower back, the L4, L5, the lower lumbar vertebra, so where all the heavy duty work goes on the lower back. And then just come to hold your knees comfortably into the chest. And just circle the right knee, holding it a few times in one direction. So a nod here to the knees in a way. And then circle the right knee a few times in the opposite direction. Your left knee, you're just holding that static. Because if you've got knees, then you can increase support by looking at the joint above and below. So the joint below is the ankle, which we've done, just hugging the knees into the chest, and come to the left side, stretching gently in one direction. So we've looked at the ankle, and now it's the hips. So we're ever so gently just giving a rotational movement of the thigh, bone in the hip socket, and then just circle in the opposite direction. And then just hugging both knees into the chest again. And treat both knees as just moving them in the same direction as one joint almost. So just very gently circle both knees in the same direction. And you'll find that you're massaging really at the base of the spine here. Almost like an old-fashioned 50p piece. And then just very gently begin to circle both knees in the opposite direction. And then come to the centre and drop your hands under your thighs to support your legs as you place one foot and then the other foot back down onto the earth. And just take a couple of breaths here. Keep your knees bent and your bottom is on the ground. You can press your feet down and lift your bottom up if you feel that you want to straighten your back out. But your knees are bent, your feet are on the ground, hip width apart, hands perhaps rest on the abdomen. And before we come to change position, just take a breath or two in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Just very gently let the breath awareness fade away. And we're going to come to changing position, to come actually to kneeling. So come if there's space available to you to roll onto your right side. Your left hip comes up, maybe extend your right arm to roll onto your right side, your choice, and stay here for certainly an in and an out breath. We're going to come up gradually. And then when you're ready to place your left hand on the ground, and again to come up half up, so you'll give your body complete opportunity to readjust the position. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Knees are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. So if your knees will allow this, just slide your hands towards you so that you kneel up. Use your hands against your thighs, breathing in, hands up, and breathing out round your back. Come onto your hands and then elbows. Just take an in and an out breath. And when you next breathe in, slide your hands towards you. Use your hands to guide against the legs. Hands up, either looking forwards or up if your neck will take it. Breathing out, rounding, chin to chest. Hands go onto the ground. Slide them out so that you come onto your elbows. Taking in and an out breath here. Now we're going to do that again, but we mentioned handstands at the beginning of the class. And this upside down movement as we come to the same position again, chin to chest, rolling down. This isn't a handstand, but it is a nod to the head in an optional headstand try. So your elbows are down and you just literally connect the top of your head to the mat and just roll your head forwards and backwards. You can bring your knees closer to your elbows if you want to. They will to the ground, but it's just you're holding the weight of your body on your elbows until there's no pressure on your neck. You can move your bottom on a circle if you want to, and the other way. So you've got the upside down movement in a very limited sense, and you've got the pressure slightly on your head, but without any compromise on your neck. And then just having had a nod to that, slide your hands back, and we're going to come to finishing in a seated position. If cross-legged is not good for you, then come to a comfortable position. And we're going to come to an aspect of somatic movement again. So it should be very comfortable. So just bring your hands to your side of your head, thumbs behind your ears, and just chin to chest. So your all the little dents in the head kind of come into some acupressure points. So the chin forward anyway is very calming for the mind. And it also is calming for the nervous system. The back of the neck is extended, and so blood can get up and move unimpeded. It's not blocked by a crunched up neck. And the chin to the chest is also very helpful for an anti-inflammatory response. The vagus nerve is activated. And keeping blood in the head. And then just a nod to the somatic sequencing. So it doesn't matter which hand you use, but keeping, you take one hand to the back of the head, cradling it, and the other hand to the forehead, your head is still down. And just press your two hands together so there's a very slight pressure on the forehead and on the back of the head. The back of the neck will naturally be gone. And it's very nurturing. And then keep the head on the forehead, but keep the hand on the forehead, but the hand at the back of the head, just drop that. Your head will come up and just place the hand at the chest centre. Eyes can be closed or open, looking down. And you'll feel a lift at the chest centre. And then keep the hand at the chest, and the hand on the forehead now drops to the navel. And again, you'll feel a slight lift. Chin is parallel to the earth. Lift again at the chest. There's a space for the organs. It's difficult to slouch down with this awareness. Gravity does slouch us down, but this is just a nod. And then just to finish, you can stay either where you are, or you can have both hands at the heart, or you can have both hands in your lap. And just for a few breaths, whichever position you choose, have a focus now of the breath coming in and out at the nostrils, the base of the nostrils. Slightly cooler as it goes in, and it's slightly warm as it comes out. And as you breathe in, notice the breath coming in, and breathing out, put anything that's not serving you today. That can be emotional, it can be physical, niggles or pain, whatever is not serving you. Breathe that out and imagine the breath carrying what you don't want out to the edge of the body. And just a couple more breaths doing breath in and just pushing out what you don't want. It goes through your body and then out, either through your feet or just whatever works for you. Through the nose again, to the edge of the body. And pushing away what's not serving you. It's almost like imagining putting anything in, like a dark black residue of what you don't want, and it goes to the edge of the body. And then we do the same again, but this time your out breath, carrying what you don't want, goes to the edge of the world. And push it out that little bit further. What's not serving you goes to the edge of the world. And each time you breathe in and breathe out to the edge of the world, you become more and more clean and purified. Light. And then we think about doing the same again, but this time the breath, the out breath, goes to the edge of the universe. So it goes to infinity. As you breathe out, you can linger on any part of physical pain or any thought, and then just let it go out to the edge now of the universe. And just drop your focus. And just take a moment for yourself to set your intention for the day. It can be for yourself or someone close to you. Setting your intention for the day, just think that thought a couple of times. And let that go. Intention with the sankalpa has been said. And now finally, take a bow for yourself, bringing your chin to your chest. And then take your hands to the third eye, kind thoughts. Just run your hands, backs of your thumbs to the lips, kind words. And then just bring your hands back to the heart again, kind deeds. Thank you very much. And